to Carson Tate's video log. It's the holiday season, so I thought in the spirit of the holiday I would talk to you about one of my favorite holiday characters, and that is the often left out of the Santa Claus mythology, Pantster. Not Donner, not Blitzen, not Rudolph. Those guys all have their day in the sun, but Pantster, he's a good friend of mine. I follow the Pantster way of writing, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that now. And so my theme today is how a Pantster can be more organized. And I'm not talking about, you know, writing an outline or figuring out every point of your plot ahead of time, because, you know, that's for those other folks, those plotters. But I do have a few tips that can keep you on the right track if you are a Pantster like myself. So let's start with the first one, and that is, what's in a name? What's in a name? So, you ever get hung up when you're writing trying to think of names for your characters? I'm not talking about your main characters. You probably have those all ready and set before you even begin writing. But your secondary characters. You know, you're writing along and you come across some used car salesman. You didn't plan for him to be in your book, but he's there and he's got lines. He's like in a whole scene. You need to give him a name. You know, thinking of a name for that guy could take you like an hour. You can sign on the internet, I'll get to that in a minute, and just get into, you know, Social Security database, U.S. Census, the Bible, obituaries, baby names for 2010, baby names for 2009, baby names, you get my point. There's an endless supply of places to go to find names for characters. And if you start looking at those while you're writing, you're not going to be writing. So, my suggestion is to use some placeholder names. Betty, Joe. I'm writing a short story right now, and I have a few characters that are Russian. I don't have time to go through all of that while I'm trying to churn out this story. All these databases that have Russian boy names. So what I've done is just used a few, you know, common Russian names. Vladimir Putin, Leo Tolstoy, you know, things like that. And I'm using those as placeholders. And what I'll do is I'll go back and do a search and replace, don't forget that part, later, and add in more appropriate names. Names that don't malign presidents and figures in literature. So that brings me to my next tip, and that is, remember that the internet is a black hole. The internet is a wonderful place, and you should stay out of it when you're writing. You should, if, you know, we're Pantsters, so we don't do all our research ahead of time. Maybe on the major points, but not on minor points, like what would that used car salesman be wearing in 1973? Were plaid pants really in then? Mutton chops? You're Googling, you know, pictures of used car salesman 1973. You get a picture, next thing you know, you're like, oh, that looks like Uncle Larry. And then you think of Uncle Larry, you call him on the phone, you know, you look on Facebook, see if Uncle Larry's on Facebook. You get my point. The internet is like, take a step here, take a step here, take a step there. Next thing you know, you've jumped off a cliff. Seriously though, if you get sucked into the internet, you're not going to be writing. So I set some limits for myself. What I do is I set a timer maybe. I'll say I'm going to be on the internet for 15 minutes and then I'm going to get off, no matter what, no matter where I am. I don't open my browser while I'm writing. You know, whatever tricks you can use to keep yourself from being on the internet while you're writing. If you have an hour to write and you get on the internet during that hour, you're going to have like 50 words and recipe for cinnamon rolls. Next thing you know, you're going to be in the kitchen making cinnamon rolls and you don't have anything to write. You can't sell cinnamon rolls to readers. Maybe you can. Anyway, my next tip is hold that thought. If you're a Pantster, you're going to have random thoughts all the time about your plot. Not usually when you're sitting in front of the computer writing. You're going to be thinking about your book all the time because you didn't think about it beforehand like those plotters do. So you're going to be, you know, in the shower and you're going to have a random thought, and you're going to be asleep at night and have a random thought. You're going to be driving in your car, have a random thought. So I just keep some tools around to capture those thoughts. I've got this, little digital voice recorder. It's the bonus to this is it will plug right into my computer and download the voice files. So I don't even have to, carry this around to listen to it all the time. I can back it up on the computer. A journal to write in, to write little thoughts. Cocktail napkins work too. Matchbook covers, business cards, little pieces of paper towel, whatever you can find to jot down thoughts. Make sure you have pens. But the digital recorder is great because you don't need a pen. You can just blah, blah, blah. And many smartphones have a digital voice recorder where you can just record a note. Note to self. For me, a lot of times I don't even have to go back and listen to the note. If I just have it recorded, then I can, I'll remember it. It's kind of implanted in my head. Same thing with writing it down. If I've written it down once, it's already up there. But it's the act of doing that that helps me remember. But at least if you have it written down and your brain has a crash, then you can go back and consult your notes. But it's really important to figure out a way to organize all those random thoughts that you're going to have, since you don't have your plot lined out in advance. So those are my tips for you for this holiday season while you're pantsting your way through your next writing project. Use names as placeholders. Do not be sucked into the black hole of the internet, and figure out a way to record your thoughts as you have them, so that you don't have to go. Don't rely on your memory. Memory sucks. So those are my tips, and thanks to my friend Pantster, 2 Pantsters, and I hope you all have a very merry holiday season, and however you celebrate, whatever holidays you do celebrate, I hope there's a lot of joy in your life, and thanks for tuning in. This is Carson Tate's Video Log, signing out.